Hello students, today we are going to be solving quadratics. To solve quadratics, what we're doing is that we are finding the solutions, the zeros, the x-intercepts, or the roots. To solve the quadratic this time, we are going to use a formula that is called the quadratic formula. And the quadratic formula is negative b plus minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac and everything over 2a. Now, we have learned that the standard form of a quadratic is ax squared plus bx plus c, where that a is the single number, is the number that is next to x squared. B will be the number next to the single x, and c will be the number that is all by itself. When you use the quadratic formula, negative b plus minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac and everything over 2a, what you're doing is that you're plugging in your a, your b, and your c from your standard form. And then you will use your calculator to solve this equation, okay? Now, one more important thing is the plus minus means that there are going to be two different solutions, the positive and the negative version of the quadratic. Let's do some problems. The first problem, we need to identify the a, the b, and the c. So for this problem, a equals 3, b equals negative 7, and c equals negative 6. Okay? So a, b, and c. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the quadratic version with the quadratic formula 2 different times. The first time, minus b plus square root of b squared minus 4ac, everything over 2a. And then we're going to do the negative, which is minus b minus square root of b squared minus 4ac, everything over 2a. Now all we have to do is plug in the numbers. So you are going to take out your a, and you will plug in your 3. You will take out your b, and you are going to plug in negative 7. And of course, you are going to take out your c, and you are plugging in negative 6. Now all you have to do now is use your calculator. So to use your calculator, remember this is a fraction and you have a square root, so be careful how you plug in your equation. Number 1, alpha y equal enter to get that fraction, and then you are going to plug everything as you see it. Negative, parentheses, negative 7, close parentheses, plus the square root, so that's second square root, of parentheses, negative 7, close parentheses, square, minus 4, parentheses, 3, close parentheses, parentheses, negative 6, close parentheses, and everything will be over 2, parentheses, 3, close parentheses. You press enter, and this is your first x-intercept, and this happens at x equals 3. You need to do it again, okay, but this time with the negative. So you can just go and copy your stuff. I cannot do it with this calculator. So we'll retype it again. Negative, parenthesis, -7, close parenthesis, minus, this time, second square root, parenthesis, -7, close parenthesis, minus 4, parenthesis, 3, close parenthesis, parenthesis, -6, close parenthesis. Oh, I forgot the fraction, so let me start again. Alpha y equal enter, and now I'm typing in negative, parenthesis, -7, close parenthesis, minus second square root, parenthesis, -7, close parenthesis, square, minus 4, parenthesis, 3, close parenthesis, parenthesis, -6, close parenthesis, everything over 2, parenthesis, 3, close parenthesis. Enter. And this is my other x-intercept. My x-intercept happens at -0.66. Okay. I don't know if we can convert this to fraction. Let's see. Let's give it a try. And yes, we can. So x equals -2/3. And these are the 2 times this function touches the x-axis. Problem number 2. Remember that you need to know your a, your b, and your c. This is not in standard form. If you look at the 2 is on the other side of the equation. So you need to bring it to the left. So -2, -2, and my new expression is -5x squared minus 11x minus 2. Here are my a, my b, and my c. A equals -5. B equals -11. C equals -2. Let me color code it so that we can use it when we are doing our quadratic formula. Again, when we are doing our quadratic formula, we're going to do the positive version and the negative version of the quadratic formula. Minus b plus square root of b squared minus 4ac, everything over 2a, and then minus b minus square root of b squared minus 4ac, and everything over 2a. So now I'll erase my a's, and I will plug in my a. This time is -5. I'll erase my b's. My b's these times are -11. And I'll erase my c. And my c this time is -2. Again, I will use my calculator. Remember to do the positive and the negative version. So I will start with my fraction. Alpha y equal enter. Sorry. Alpha y equal enter. Negative parenthesis, -11, close parenthesis, plus second square root, parenthesis, -11, close parenthesis, square, minus 4, parenthesis, -5, close parenthesis, -2, close parenthesis, everything over 2, parenthesis, -5, close parenthesis. Press enter, and my first x, or my first x-intercept is at x equals 0.2. If I want to change it as a fraction, and it's going to be x equals 1/5. Okay, these two are the same result. Now we're going to do the negative version. So we will start with alpha, the y equal enter, negative parenthesis, -11, close parenthesis, minus this time square root of parenthesis negative 11 close parenthesis square minus 4 parenthesis negative 5 close parenthesis open parenthesis again negative 2 close parenthesis everything over 2 parenthesis negative 5 close parenthesis. Enter. So this happens at x equals negative 0.2. In other words, it's going to happen at x equals negative 1/5. Problem number 3. So again, I need to move my 32 and it needs to be on the same side. So now my expression is 3n squared plus 10n minus 32. My a equals 3. My b equals 10. My c equals negative 32. Now I can just make sure that I know my a, my b, and my c. My b and my c is going to be negative 32. And now I will use my quadratic formula 2 times negative b plus square root of b squared minus 4ac everything over 2a, and I will use minus b minus square root of b squared minus 4ac everything over 2a. Magical eraser, erase the a's, plug in 3, magical eraser again, erase b, and plug in 10, and then the eraser again, erase c, and plug in negative 32. So go to your calculator now. Alpha, y equal enter, negative parenthesis 10 close parenthesis plus the square root of parenthesis 10 close parenthesis, sorry, let me delete this one, delete 10 square minus 4 parenthesis 3 close parenthesis negative 32 close parenthesis everything over 2 parenthesis 3 close parenthesis. You press enter and your first x-intercept is at x equals 2. That should be black. Let me write it in black. X equals 2. So this is my first x-intercept. We will do it again. And we will start with alpha, y equal enter, negative parenthesis 10 close parenthesis minus second square root parenthesis 10 close parenthesis square minus 4 parenthesis 3 close parenthesis open parenthesis negative 32 close parenthesis and everything over 2 parenthesis 3 close parenthesis. Enter, and this happens at x equals negative 5.33. If you want to convert that to a fraction, you go to the calculator, convert to fraction, and this will be x equals negative 16/3. Next, for this one, you can see your a, your b, and your c because it's in standard form. Your a is negative 2, your b positive 11, and your c is positive 30. So again, you will use your quadratic formula twice, the positive version, the negative, and you start with your minus b plus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, everything over 2a, and then your negative version, which is minus b minus square root of b squared minus 4ac, everything over 2a. Use your eraser. Eraser A. Plug in the negative 2. Eraser again. Eraser B. And plug in your 11. And then your eraser again. Eraser C. Oops, it went a little bit too far. I need to keep my fraction there. And we're plugging in 30. And now use your calculator. So again, we'll go with alpha y equal enter, negative, parenthesis 11, close parenthesis, the plus version first. So it's plus second square root, parenthesis 11, close parenthesis square, minus 4, parenthesis negative 2, close parenthesis, open parenthesis 30, close parenthesis, everything over 2, parenthesis, negative 2, close parenthesis. You press enter, and your x equals negative 2. And now we are going to go for the negative version of it. So again, negative, parenthesis 11, close parenthesis. Oh, I forgot the alpha y equal enter because it's a fraction. So alpha y equal enter. Negative 11. Sorry, where's the parenthesis? 11, close parenthesis, minus. And then the square root, parenthesis 11, close parenthesis, square, minus 4, parenthesis, negative 2, close parenthesis, open parenthesis, 30, close parenthesis, and everything over 2, parenthesis, negative 2, close parenthesis, enter. And now my x equals 7.5, or x equals 7 and a half. So that is how you use your quadratic formula. Now there's another way to find the x-intercept, or the solution, or the roots, and that is what happens when you have A and you have C but you have no B. Well, these problems are a little bit easier to solve. All you have to do is get the x by itself. So to do this, just like we have learned previously in algebra, let me add 4 to the right side, and I'm going to add 4 to the left side. When I do something like this, these two cancels out. So now I have 4 equals 1/3 x squared. Remember that you want x by itself. So if I want x by itself, how do I undo the 1/3 that is being multiplied? So I can multiply times the reciprocal. So I'm going to multiply times 3 over 1. That way this cancels out. But if I multiply times 3 over 1 on one side, I need to multiply the other side times 3 over 1. When I multiply the left side, I end up with a 12 over 1, I don't need to write it, equals x squared. So now how do I solve for x? What I need to do is that I want to apply the square root, because when I apply the square root, the square of the x cancels with the square root. So if I apply the square root to the right side, I need to apply it to the left side. So let me apply the square root to the 12. So that is simple. All I have to do is put it into the calculator. Second square root of 12. And the answer is x equals 3 point, let me put 4, 7. Remember that the square root have the positive and negative versions. So really, you also have that x equals negative 3.47. And here you have both your roots. One more sample like that. Remember that you want x by itself. So if you want x by itself, start by adding 7. Add 7. That cancels out. So now you have 4x squared equals 9. Okay. And now I want x by itself. Let me divide by 4. I'll divide by 4. That cancels out. And now I have x squared equals 9 over 4. Just like before, we are going to apply the square root to the left so that it cancels with the square root of the x, and I'll apply it to the right. So now, when I put that into the calculator, I can put it just like that, x equals, and this time you will do second square root alpha y equal enter 9 over 4. You press enter, and your solution is 1.5. Okay. If you want to change that to a fraction, you can do math fraction, enter, and it's going to be x equals 3 over 2. Now remember that you have also the negative version, so it's also x equals negative 1.5 and x equals negative 3 over 2. And that is how you solve quadratics using the quadratic formula or using the square roots.